The Montreal Canadiens live to fight another day after forcing a Game 6, beating the Toronto Maple Leafs in Game 5 in overtime. Our coverage here, David, on the fourth period, brought to you by Bitbuy, Canada's #1 cryptocurrency platforms. What a game it was, what a start it was for the Montreal Canadiens, but you have to like the fight that the Toronto Maple Leafs had to come back.
Yeah, absolutely, Irf. You know, the Canadiens kind of took their foot off the gas a little bit and started to change their game plan in this one, and that allowed the Maple Leafs to get back into this. They kept things relatively simple from their perspective, but it truly allowed them to get back into this game. And, you know, some unfortunate bounces going against Montreal's way allowed the Maple Leafs to tie this game, send it to overtime. This was a hard-fought one for the Habs in the first going, and the Leafs kind of went the rest of the way in the second half of this game. But ultimately, the Habs came out on top with a quick win in overtime, 59 seconds into it.
Yeah, and you talk about that overtime win. I want to talk about the Montreal Canadiens a little bit. It was basically for them, bend but don't break situation, wasn't it?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, they had to come out strong in this one. The Montreal Canadiens needed to produce offense, and they needed to get the plan of attack going. They didn't need to sit back like they normally do and play against Toronto's strengths. They needed to be the aggressor in this one because they needed to keep their season alive. So the Canadiens got a couple fortuitous bounces throughout the course of this game. Armia with 2 goals, Kotkaniemi with the third, but it really allowed them to kind of keep the pace in their direction before Toronto started to sway back, a couple bounces their way, and all of a sudden they're back into this one. And even though this building was empty, you could feel the momentum shifting in Toronto's direction, and ultimately it allowed them to tie this game. If this wasn't done quickly in overtime for Montreal, I got a feeling Toronto was going to wrap this one up. But we go back to Game 6 on Saturday.
Yeah, I definitely do agree with you on that, Dave. Johnny Tavares, obviously the Leafs captain, was in the building. Very quickly, I just want to ask you about the play of both goaltenders because both of them kind of seemed a little bit off.
Yeah, it was weird because, you know, the bounces that went Montreal's way in the beginning, you started to wonder how that would play a factor into the coaching decision to keep Jack Campbell in this one. But they held tight, held firm, and he started to play better as the game went on, Irf. He really started to get into a bit of a groove, played with more confidence. He was up a little bit more, and it made things a little bit more difficult for the Montreal Canadiens. Carey Price started that way, and then just some bounces didn't really go their way, and it allowed Toronto, as I mentioned, to get back into this one and kind of claw their way back. But Carey Price is still Carey Price, and he held the fort as much as he could to allow his team to get back into this one. And, you know, the greatest thing about Game 6 are 2,500 fans in the building at the Bell Center on Saturday. The first game in Canada since March of 2020 that'll have fans in an NHL game.
Yeah, it's going to be an absolutely incredible atmosphere. And again, those 2,500 fans, David, are cheering their team as Montreal looks to stave off elimination in Game 6.